السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الحمد لله الذي يجيبني حين أناديه ويستر علي كل عورة وأنا أعصيه. نحمده ونسبحه ونقدسه على آلائه ونعمائه، ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأن سيدنا محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك وترحم على محمد وآل محمد كأفضل ما صليت وسلمت وباركت وترحمت على إبراهيم وآل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. وصل اللهم وسلم على جميع الأنبياء والمرسلين والأوصياء والصديقين وعترة نبيك الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين وأصحابه المنتجبين ومن تبعهم بإحسان وإيمان إلى يوم الدين. عباد الله، أوصيكم وأوصي نفسي بتقوى الله ولزوم أمره. قال الله تبارك وتعالى في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم: ومن الناس من يعبد الله على حرف فإن أصابه خير اطمأن به وإن أصابته فتنة انقلب على وجهه خسر الدنيا والآخرة ذلك هو الخسران المبين. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Some people believe that practicing religion, believing in religion, it would qualify them to be immune from any troubles, problems, difficulties in their life. They become always the healthiest, the richest, the happiest, the most successful, because he's conducting a couple of rak'ah a day. So God has to take care of his financial affairs, his marriage, his children, his business, his health. This was the understanding of many in the beginning of Islam. They would come to Medina and they convert to Islam. It was easy. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. Sometimes we don't have to say salawat. Yeah, not every time we say salawat. So they say these two sentences, they become Muslim. If his wife begets a baby boy, male, if his sheep, if his herd multiplies, then قال هذا دين حسن. He says this is good religion because I see the effect in my sheep, in my business, in my family. But if his wife begets a female, not male, a girl, his business is down, he says هذا دين سيء. This religion is a bad religion, doesn't work for me. So they treat religion as a business enterprise, as a commerce, as tijara, not as a relationship between them and God. This is how they perceive religion. The day my life is easy, comfortable, I'm making money, I'm making gains, then this religion is good. I'm going to stick to this religion. The day my life is shaky a little bit, my business is not doing good, then there is no need to pray. Why I'm praying? God is not looking at me. God is not listening to me. Why should I pray? Why should I care about religion? They perceive religion in the context of profit and loss, not in a spiritual context or moral context, not as a relationship between them and God. That type of perception is very simple-minded, is very naive. Religion never guarantees for us that if you practice it, if you pray, you are not going to lose your business or your house or your loved ones, or you are not going to get sick. Nowhere in the Quran God gives such promises. God says this is part of you as a human being. One day you are healthy, one day you are sick. One day you make money, one day you lose money. One day you have a birth in your family, the other day you have a death. This is part of us, part of our this journey in this life. It never guarantees that if you start praying, your business is not going to go down. Never ever. Or you are not going to get sick. Yes, it guarantees, religion guarantees that if you practice religion in a good way, in a healthy way, if you understand the philosophy of religion, then even if you lose your house, your business, your money, your health, you are not going to lose yourself. You are not going to lose self-confidence. You are not going to lose your faith and your trust in God. You are going to be strong. Same person, strong. Maybe you get sad, but you don't go down. You don't get depressed. Because these things, they come and go. These things are from God. وَهُوَ الَّذِي يُطْعِمُنِي وَيَسْقِينِ. Food from God, drink from God, the house from God, the money from God, the family from God, the health from God. These are from God. One day God gives, the other day He decides to limit, to test us. These are tests. So a real faithful does not lose his relationship with God because he lost his house. He's not going to get angry and frustrated at God. This is the journey of this life. This is the journey of this life. God says to the Muslims, He says to them, أَمْ حَسِبْتُمْ Surah Al-Baqarah, أَمْ حَسِبْتُمْ أَن تَدْخُلُوا الْجَنَّةَ وَلَمَّا يَأْتِكُمْ مَثَلُ الَّذِينَ خَلَوْا مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ مَسَّتْهُمُ الْبَأْسَاءُ وَالضَّرَّاءُ وَزُلْزِلُوا. You think that the path to paradise is a carpool. You can speed. And then you do not go through ba'sa, adversity, dharra, suffering. No, there is nothing like that. You have to go through these things. This is part of you being a human on this earth. This is your journey. Ya ayyuhal insan, innaka kadihun ila rabbika kadhan. You are struggling in this life. Who said life is easy? It's not easy. You have to go through these tests. Like the students, if they don't have midterms and finals, how do we know that they understood these subjects and these lessons? How do we know? How do we know? They have to go through these tests and finals to build themselves, to build their brain, their minds. In fact, sufferings and adversities, al-baliyatu shi'arul anbiya. It's the logo, the emblem of the good people in this life. Shi'arul anbiya. Shi'arul anbiya. Their logo is, I am always suffering. I am always being put to trial and tribulation. The prophets, the messengers, the imams, they went through these. Among them, and the first one who went through these sufferings, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He went through poverty, starvation, starvation, loneliness, alienation, segregation. They fought against him. They called him names. They tortured him, psychological, physical torture. But he did not lose his relationship with God. He didn't. This is part of our journey. Part of our journey, part of the journey of a believer is to go through these tests and sufferings. There is no escape. لَتُبْلَوُنَّ. God says, you will. Lamul qasam. He makes a vow. لَتُبْلَوُنَّ. You will be put to test and trials. لَتُبْلَوُنَّ. فِي أَمْوَالِكُمْ. We test you in your wealth. Sometimes you lose your home. You lose your credit. You lose your house. You lose your possessions. لَتُبْلَوُنَّ فِي أَمْوَالِكُمْ. And also وَأَنفُسِكُمْ. Sometimes you get sick. You almost die because of sickness. You have to have surgeries. You have to go to the hospitals. You have to go to be on medication for a long period of time. Sometimes you have to be bedridden for a long period of time. This is imtihan. لَتُبْلَوُنَّ. You will be tested. You will be put to test. فِي أَمْوَالِكُمْ وَأَنفُسِكُمْ. And sometimes it's a psychological warfare against you. When other people attack you, other people they question your faith, they question your book, they burn your book, they curse your prophet, they curse your faith. وَلَتَسْمَعُنَّ مِنَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ وَمِنَ الَّذِينَ أَشْرَكُوا أَذًى كَثِيرًا. You're going to hear and experience much annoyance, much harassment from those who don't have faith. They put a pressure on you. They intimidate you. They intimidate you. They come after you. They take the hijab away from your woman's head. They ridicule your religion. أَذًى كَثِيرًا. God is telling, this is the fact. But God says, وَإِن تَصْبِرُوا وَتَتَّقُوا فَإِنَّ ذَلِكَ مِنْ عَزْمِ الْأُمُورِ. But if you persevere and if you become patient, then that is the cause for victory for you. You're going to be victorious. You're going to be victorious. Life is tough. Who said to be a Muslim is easy, to be a believer is easy? In this country and other countries, nowhere. Nowadays, in fact, if you are a good Muslim, that is the most difficult thing, to be a good Muslim, to be a good believer, not to lose your faith in God, not to lose your trust in God. When you see so much intimidation, so many countries are against you, the whole media is against you, your neighbors are against you, sometimes your relatives are against you, they turn against you. وَإِن تَصْبِرُوا وَتَتَّقُوا. If you persevere, sabr, we need sabr. And taqwa. Taqwa, I go back to God. Sometimes we raise our grievance to our friends, to our neighbors, and sometimes we speak to God. You don't say anything to anyone. You tell what you have, your suffering, you share it with your Lord. This is taqwa. وَإِن تَصْبِرُوا وَتَتَّقُوا فَإِنَّ ذَلِكَ مِنْ عَزْمِ الْأُمُورِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, do not measure your financial success in this life. Don't think that if you are financially successful, then this necessarily means that God is happy with you. Or if you are not financially successful, that God is angry with you, not happy with you. No, it's not like that. It's not like that. All the prophets, they went hungry. Was God angry at them? No. Musa alayhi salam. Imam Ali has a sermon in Nahj al-Balagha. He draws comparison between Musa, Isa and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He says those people, they went hungry. They went hungry. Musa alayhi salam most of the time was hungry. Isa most of the time was hungry. Prophet Muhammad, not only him, but his family, his kids, they went hungry. This means God could not provide them food. God, the most generous, cannot provide his sweethearts with food. He does, he can. But this is a test. This builds your character. Builds your character. God is testing us. My friends, any sickness is a test for a believer, not a punishment. Any downturn is a test for us. It's not, don't look at it as being a punishment. God is angry at me. Say, God is happy. God wants to test me more, to raise my ranks. Through these tests, the ranks of the believers are risen. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. نحمده ونسبحه ونقدسه على آلائه ونعمائه ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأن سيدنا محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك وترحم على محمد وآل محمد كأفضل ما صليت وسلمت وباركت وترحمت على إبراهيم وآل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. وصل اللهم وسلم على خلفاء نبيك وأوصيائه وأهل بيته وأحبته علي أمير المؤمنين وقائد الغر المحجلين وعلى البضعة الطاهرة فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين وعلى سبطي نبي الرحمة وسيدي شباب أهل الجنة الحسن والحسين عليهما السلام وعلى علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والإمام الخلف الهادي المهدي عجل الله تعالى فرجه وسهل مخرجه وجعلنا من أنصاره وأعوانه. عباد الله، أوصيكم وأوصي نفسي بتقوى الله ولزوم أمره. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. تلك حدود الله فلا تعتدوها ومن يتعد حدود الله فأولئك هم الظالمون. صدق الله العلي العظيم. The tragic death of Mahsa Amini in Iran ignited a worldwide discussion and debate over Islam and hijab and the scarf, observing the scarf in Islam. Many powers, they are pushing their own narratives and their own agendas to turn it into a war against Islam, against the Quran, against the Prophet. First and foremost, we are not underestimating the death of this young lady. We sympathize with her family, with her community, with her people. It's really tragic. It's really sad. And we hope Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will embrace her with His love, with His mercy, and bestow patience and steadfastness on her family and her community, inshallah. Any soul that is taken away in any country, in any culture, in any place, we have to feel sad for that. We have to stand with those who are being killed for no reason. But my friends, we have to maintain the balance. We should not be emotional. When we judge something, we should not be emotional. We should incorporate rationality and understanding and a broad-mindedness. On the one hand, there should be no coercion in matters of religion, no intimidation. Matters of religion are a relationship between us and God. No father, no mother, no husband, no wife, no son, no neighbor, no leader should interfere in this business. This is a relationship between me and God. To pray or not to pray, to fast or not to fast, to pay charity zakat or not to pay, to observe hijab or not to. These are between me and God. Allah says to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in many verses in the Quran, أَفَأَنْتَ تُكْرِهُ النَّاسَ حَتَّى يَكُونُوا مُؤْمِنِينَ. Ya Rasulullah, don't go too far. Are you the one who's going to coerce? Tukrih means coerce, to force them to become faithful. I don't want me to do that. I don't want people to worship me because of intimidation. I want people to worship me, to obey me, to listen to me out of love and conviction and understanding. In Surah Hud, not just the Prophet Muhammad, prophets before him, he's telling his community. Surah Hud, ayah number 28. أَنُلْزِمُكُمُوهَا وَأَنْتُمْ لَهَا كَارِهُونَ. Am I going to overburden you with faith, with religion, while you are unwilling to listen? Karihun, I'm not going to do that. I'm inviting you. I'm encouraging you. I am teaching you. I am inspiring you, but I'm not coercing you. فَذَكِّرْ. The role of religion, the role of religious leaders is tafkir, فَذَكِّرْ, reminding. إِنَّمَا أَنْتَ مُذَكِّرْ. You are only a reminder. لَسْتَ عَلَيْهِمْ بِمُصَيْطِرْ. You are not a controller. Leave people alone. Leave people alone. You are not musaytir. You are not musaytir. Leave people alone. History has shown, my friends, history of mankind has shown that whenever we use coercion or force or intimidation, it backfires. It backfires. Try this with your son, with your daughter at home. Try it. Force them to pray. Force them. Be angry, yell at them, curse them. Say Allah is going to curse you if you don't pray. They might listen to you for a few days. After that, they run away from the family. They run away. You lose. We have to be wise. This is on the one hand. This is on the one hand. On the other hand, my friends, hijab is an obligation. It's in this book. 3 times God mentions hijab in this book. What do you want me to do with it? Do you want me to throw the book away? To tear it apart? It's mentioned. It's a fact. It's a fact. We cannot neglect this fact. We cannot ignore it. And God says, Tilka hududullah. These are the limits, the boundaries, the rules of God. You have to respect them. وَمَنْ يَتَعَدَّ حُدُودَ اللَّهِ. If you transgress against these boundaries, against these religious rules and obligations, فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الظَّالِمُونَ. Those are the wrongdoers. In another verse, وَمَنْ يَتَعَدَّ حُدُودَ اللَّهِ فَقَدْ ظَلَمَ نَفْسَهُ. If you transgress and you don't want to pray, you don't want to fast, you don't want to observe hijab, you are doing hurt and harm to your own self. God is not going to lose. You're going to lose. In any society, not just Islamic society, in any neighborhood, in any community, conservative neighborhood, conservative, forget about Islamic, don't use the term Islamic. Conservative neighborhood. When people live, they choose to live in a conservative neighborhood, there are rules and regulations. They enter into a contract, a covenant with people around them and with the rulers, with the elders, that they respect rules and regulations. They respect them, they follow them. I cannot say, I live in a conservative society, I can drink in public, I don't care. This is between me and God. No, you can. You can drink at home. Your property, your home, you can drink, you can walk naked, you can play any music, you can eat any food, it's up to you. You can have any relationship with any person, this is your property. Nobody is going to break the door and come inside your bedroom and say which side you have to sleep, this side or that. No. But when you are outside, there are other people, other conservative people, other moral people around you. In this country, until a few days ago, this mask was mandated. You could not go into any school, university, department, even department stores, even gas station without this. Whether you like it or not, whether you believe in it or not, you had to wear it for the protection of the whole society against biological virus. Sometimes there are moral and spiritual viruses. We have to protect the country. We have to protect the society. It's a duty. This is the duty of the ruler, to protect his society. But there is a difference, once again, there is a difference between imposing it, coercing it, and encouraging teaching. We failed in teaching people. We failed in this mission. And when you fail in teaching, when a father fails in teaching, in inspiring, educating his children, he's going to resort to what? To force, to imposing it on them. We have to leave people alone. It's a personal choice. I believe this is a personal choice. Once it turns into a political tool, it loses its value. It would lose its merit. Leave people to have a personal choice. Today, all of you here, I can say with full confidence, you came to this mosque, nobody forced you to come here. Nobody. Many of you have offices now, office work, you are physicians, lawyers, people, business people. Nobody forced you to come here. Nobody. You came because you love to speak to God. You love to go. إِذَا نُودِيَ لِلصَّلَاةِ مِنْ يَوْمِ الْجُمْعَةِ. You believe in this verse. فَاسْعَوْا إِلَى ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ. Go to the remembrance of God. وَذَرُوا الْبَيْعَ. Put the business aside. Nobody forced you to come here. This is why you enjoy it. You enjoy coming to the mosque on a Friday. This is how it should be. On the other hand, when some people fight hijab, they have no right to fight hijab. When France banned hijab, they banned hijab until now, and many people left France. I personally know many people who left that country because they cannot practice their personal freedom, their personal religion. They could not practice it. They left France. I have a friend who told me, friend of mine, very close to me, he was stopped by a police officer in Paris and he was issued a citation, 500 euros, because his wife wears the scarf, hijab. Can you imagine 500 euros? Nobody said here, this is personal freedom, this is women's right, women. Nobody said thing. They all said, well, it's a secular country. They can do whatever they want. You have to follow the rules. You have to abide by the rules. If you don't like, don't go to France. But nobody said this. Nobody said this is wrong, banning hijab. A few years ago, there was a terrorist attack in Paris. If you remember, 3, 4, 5 years ago. I was invited to speak at the City Hall in Los Angeles, and some of you here, you were there. We were told by the assistant to the mayor of Los Angeles that when you speak, don't mention religion, don't mention any verse of the Bible or the Torah or the Quran, don't mention any hadith of the Prophet. Why? Because the French General Council says that we want this event to be completely secular. No religious references in this. Imagine, he's a General Council of France in Los Angeles, 7,000 miles away from his country, but he wants to impose his thinking and the strategy of his government on us living in America, in California. They were telling us, don't mention any verse of the Quran. If you mention, he's going to walk away, because this has to be secular vigil, not religious vigil. But nobody said no. Nobody said no to them. We all accepted these terms and conditions. We accepted. When we live in a conservative society, we have to accept the norms. Yes, not by force again, but by love. We have to encourage. This is why, my friends, we need to teach our children, to inspire them the value of hijab. For some women, hijab is their moral and religious identity. They tell you that I feel more comfortable wearing hijab. I feel I'm at peace. I feel I'm closer to God. We cannot say no to them. You don't have right to do this. Neither we should come to someone who doesn't pray, who doesn't believe in God. Who doesn't believe in God. We tell her, wear hijab. This is nonsense. She doesn't believe in God. Leave her alone. Let her go to Jahannam. Why do you want, do we force people to go to paradise? We don't force. Paradise, Jannah and Nar and Jahannam, through our free will. Through our free will. We have to teach people. We have to encourage them. Remind them, فَذَكَّرْ إِنَّمَا أَنْتَ مُذَكِّرْ, that the hijab has these values. If you don't believe, it's up to you. Maybe, and then, my friends, hijab is not only for women, hijab is for men too. We always impose it on women and we forget about men. Men also have a dress code in Islam. قُلْ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ يَغُضُّوا مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِمْ وَيَحْفَظُوا فُرُوجَهُم. The ayah of hijab, when it addresses hijab, it begins with men first and then women. But we always focus on women and we forget about men. And the other point, my friends, not every non-hijabi is necessarily bad. No, many of them, they do practice Islam, they love God, but they need some time. Hijab is not easy, my friends. It's not, we are men. We are men. Listen to women, they have different perspective. It's a big challenge for them in this country. It's a big challenge for them. And maybe God is rewarding them only for their hijab. Only for their hijab. So it's not easy. Let's not overburden them. Let's understand them and be nice to them and kind and use the language of encouragement and inspiration rather than coercion. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Inna Allah ya'muru bil-'adli wal-ihsani wa ita'i dhil qurba wa yanha 'anil fahsha'i wal-munkari wal-baghi يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات. تابع اللهم بيننا وبينهم بالخيرات إنك مجيب الدعوات إنك غافر الخطيئات إنك على كل شيء قدير. Tonight, inshallah, there is a youth session at 7 p.m. So encourage the young generation, young leaders to come and attend the youth session here tonight, inshallah. وعجل اللهم في فرج سيدنا ومولانا صاحب العصر والزمان وإلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات ثواب الفاتحة مع الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.